the whole chain of narration. Check if there is contradiction, okay, with the Quran. Contradiction. Does it contradict Quran, other hadith? Just name it. So this is ilm al-hadith. This is about the hadith itself. So al-hadith, in English we call it hadith as well. Okay? Which means what? The narration. The narration. On the other hand, we have ilm al-rijal. Ilm al-rijal, or sometimes they call it ilm al-jarh. Okay? والتعديل. علم الرجال. الرجال means what in English? It means literally men, but means what? Narrators. So الرجال الرجال. Okay? الرجال means what? It means narrators. Okay? So here I check if the narrator ثقة, is he weak? Okay, is he ثقة? We say in Arabic ثقة. Okay, means what? Reliable, trustworthy. Okay, reliable, and just name it. So it is talking about here. We study what? We study narrators. Okay, we study what? Narrators. Another important thing, okay? Weak narrators here, okay? Narrator. Another important thing, do we have really someone called XYZ? Okay? Is that narrator? Did that narrator exist back then? Or it's fabricated name? So that's what we call, for instance, majhul. Okay, majhul. We have muhmal. Okay, no one mentioned him. Okay, majhul, unknown. So like we can add here, narrator could be what? Unknown, but he is mentioned. Among 16,000 hadith, all of a sudden we have a narrator, his name XYZ. Where did that guy come from? Only mentioned once, and the riwayah is weird riwayah. Oh, we put a question mark here. So this is the advantage of ilm al-rijal. So we have ilm al-rijal, we have ilm al-hadith. Two different but yet interconnected ones. Okay? So why we need to study both of those? Why? Why we need to study both? Why both of them? What's the advantage? Yes? Yeah, that's right. But there is a very important, idea behind it. Because if I only study this hadith, example, I'm going to give you an example, and just please pay attention to it. It's simple. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say Hassan, narrator 1. Should I use N1? Okay, or put a name? Put a name. So I will say Hassan, okay, Hassan said, Hassan narrated from whom? From Ahmad, and Ahmad narrated from what? Let's say Isa. Okay? So the chain of narration of this, how is going to be? Chain of narration will be like this. Are we good here? I can delete this. Okay, the chain of narration will be as follows. It's going to be Hassan, okay, from whom? From Ahmad, from Isa. And that Isa is from whom? Let's say Imam. This is just an example, okay? An example. So if I want to now study this this hadith, this is a hadith that Imam al-Sadiq said, open quotation, done. You tell me Hassan, I know Hassan, he's authentic. Okay, thiqa. Ahmad, thiqa. So this is Shi'i thiqa narrator, Shi'i thiqa narrator, Shi'i thiqa narrator. Okay, and it is mentioned in an authentic book like, known book like Al-Kafi. So right away you're going to tell me everything is what connected from Al-Kulayni, the author of the book, all the way to Al-Imam. What do I consider this narration? Sahih, which we are going to repeat, study it a little bit more. So this is Sahih. Where is the problem though? No, before the content. The first question would be, yes, but Hassan, he passed away 950 Hijri. Ahmad, he was born, so this is passed away, okay? His death is what? This guy was born, what? 110. You tell me, Ya Habibi, does not work. This guy, how is going to narrate from Ahmad? Yeah, the other way around, because I'm doing Arabic way, okay? Okay. So this here was born, sorry, thank you. So this here was born 110, and this guy, his death was 95. So he came like 15 years after this guy. They never met. Can I consider this hadith sahih anymore? Okay, how did I know this is 110 and this is 95? Not ilm al-hadith. Ilm al-rijal. Ilm al-rijal will tell me. They study the case of every narrator. When he was born, whom he met, where did he stay, where did he die, is he good or not, what kind of books he had, what about other scholars talking about him or other Sahaba, just name it. So this is, I take this to ilm al-rijal. Because if there is no ilm al-rijal, I'm going to say, you know what, this is good guy, the hadith is good. No. So this is from studying the chain of narrators. So we study the chain of narrators by each one, and also we have to study it in general. Is the flow is right? Okay? So if I have a gap, I say, hey, what's happening here? Okay? So, another problem with the sanad. So this is, we call what? This here, we're talking about sanad of the riwayah. Sanad. What's sanad? That means the chain. Okay? The chain of transmission. That sanad, I see it continuous. It appears continuous. When I look into details from ilm al-rijal, it is not continuous. It is what? Missing, chronological, proper chronological order.
So would you say it's like da'if?
Why? I'm sorry? No. I'm sorry, what's the question?
I said, so would that chain be called da'if?
Okay, that's very true. Yeah, that's very true. Anyway, we'll come back to the book. So this is the sanad. There is another problem with the sanad. What's the another problem? So I'm going to now delete this and show you something different. So we're going to keep this example, okay? I'm going to keep this example. So the first problem we found, what was the first problem? The first problem we had, okay? It looks, what? It looks sahih, which we'll discuss later on. Sahih. Okay? Why? Because this is authentic. Okay? trustworthy, trustworthy, ثقة, ثقة, ثقة. But, or other than sahih, I can put what? Continuous. I want to use continuous. Okay. Chronologically right. Okay. It looks sahih, but in reality, it is what? The let's say put this way, location over time, okay, is not accurate. يعني كيف؟ يعني this guy, he was in Medina. This guy, he was in Karbala, for instance. He never went to Medina. How did you know he said this? You guys, you never met. Unless you prove they co-locate it. Okay? Unless the guy is a famous place. So let's say Mecca and the guy in Medina, there is a chance. Or the guy maybe visited the Prophet, there is a chance. So now here I start analyzing. But let's say this guy is not in Medina. This guy is in, let's say, Iran. You tell me, this guy never, how did this guy met this guy? He never went there. In Mecca, maybe he went to Hajj. In Medina, maybe he visited the Prophet. But those are totally different places. Oh, here I put question mark. I have to put more efforts to prove they met. Okay, I have to prove they met. Another reason would be the time. This guy was born in 110 Hijri. And he narrated hadith from a guy passed away 95 Hijri. So these guys, this guy when he was dead, that was after like 15 years was born. It's like when your grandmother is telling you, I used to use Facebook. You say, huh? What? What do you mean Facebook is just new, or Instagram, okay? Or, a guy just saying, oh, you know what, during World War II, we went to Mars, we got some mineral. What are you talking about? So here we have to consider what? Circumstances, external factors. So if there is something I can talk about here, okay, I have to call it external, all this, as you are going to see later on, external factors. So it has to be narrator, okay, has to be with the time, has to be with the location, has to be also, another thing is important is what? I'm going to write it here. This is internal one, which is what? The content. So now we are talking about ilm al-hadith. Ilm al-hadith is not just to know whether this is thiqa or not. This is ilm al-rijal. Ilm al-rijal nowadays is like checking someone's profile. Okay? The profile of a person. So if I want to write something here, I say this is, and some other factors, this here, what do I call them? Ilm al-hadith. Hadith Sciences. Okay? So what's ilm al-rijal? Ilm al-rijal, I'm going to write it here. Al-rijal. What's ilm al-rijal? It's what? It is the profiles of whom? Of narrators. يعني what time they were born, which city, okay, good one or not, thiqa or not, and just name it. I'm checking the profile of the narrator. Is that a good word nowadays? Okay, yes.
Well, I've seen that before. There's two narrators, like with the same name.
That's very important. So let's say Like you are checking your TikTok or Instagram and you find a guy, his name, yes, his name is Ali. You say, half of my friends are Ali. Ali what? Oh, you start checking what? Some clues. Wallah, Ali from Lebanon, Ali from Iraq. Oh, now we start limiting. Both are from the same have the same family name, let's say, nowadays. Okay? Alaykum as-salam. Or they were born in the same place, same time. Oh, this will make it what? Difficult. And we have something like this in Ilm. It's like, Abu Basir. Which Abu Basir we're talking about? Okay? So do we have solutions? Yes, we do have solutions. Because you tell me, Ali first one, always narrate from Al-Imam al-Sadiq. The Ali second one, always narrate from Imam al-Kadhim. Okay, now I can tell. This Ali is different than this Ali. Okay? So now, if both are authentic, then I don't care if it's the similar names or not. Because alhamdulillah, both are authentic. That's like Abu Basir. Okay? Sometimes, no, I cannot tell. We have here big question. So if I cannot tell whether a person is authentic or not, or I question it, because he shares the same name with someone who is weak. The guy is authentic, but he shares the same name with a weak person. If I cannot find a clue, convincing a clue, that reach a level of certainty as a researcher, then you cannot depend on any. You reject both. In other words, can I consider the default of the profile of someone a good guy? Khalas, by knowing, he narrated hadith, that means he's a good guy. Can I do this? No. Not in the school of usuliyin. So, but some scholars, they said there is asalat al-sahha. What's asalat al-sahha? You took us somewhere else, but I'll talk about it here. We are done from this? We are good? So if we are studying who is in the narration, in the chain of narration, who is before the other, what time he was born, did they live in the same era, live in the same city, or did they meet or not? We call it ilm al-hadith. If I want to check the content of the hadith, there is hadith, it says, it's not going to rain at all. You say, it rains. What are you talking about? This contradicts with the common sense. You throw it away. Whether it is hadith sahih or not, we throw it away. We do not agree with that. Clear? So another thing here, for ilm al-rijal, you are checking and evaluating, verifying. كيف نحن عنا هلا nowadays you put the star, Sheikh, for verification, blue star or red or gold. I have to verify the profile of that narrator. If he is good, I put golden one. Oh, he is Shi'i thiqa. Oh, this is gold. If it's not verified, do you consider it an official profile? Maybe someone made it up. Same thing now, as we created tools to prove people, okay? Back then they had different tools. They had books to tell me whether this guy is a good guy or not. Okay? One of the most important books nowadays is the book of As-Sayyid al-Khu'i that talks about Ilm al-Rijal. This is the most important book nowadays, and it's because it contains so many, narrators and analysis. Sayyid al-Khu'i mainly depend on two important books regarding that. One of them is for al-Najashi, we call it Rijal al-Najashi, and the other one is for Sheikh al-Tusi, and in addition to al-Kishi and others. Okay? So those are important. Najashi, and we're talking about 1,000 years ago. Al-Khu'i in his modern age, but he was able to go back, revise, and revive okay, the علم الحديث. علم الرجال. Okay. Yes.
So, is there an Sayyid Khoui's book or?
Definitely, we have books for Allama al-Hilli. Allama al-Hilli, we talked about it before. Allama al-Hilli is he one who start heavily introducing the hadith, sahih, da'if, hasan, which we are gonna review in a bit. Yes.
So, is there a book that says, for example, in your example there, that Hassan is from Iran? Is there a book that says that he ever visited Karbala, for example?
That's the job of a mujtahid.
How would you find out?
That's a tough job. So if there is no proof, I have to put a question mark. Okay. Well, a person said, I met this person in China. And no one told us, you were in China. Unless I trust you, then I will trust that you met him in China. But if a person is not trustworthy and he claims I met him in China, I cannot depend on something not trustworthy. It's like a loop. You are entering into a loop. It's like catch-22, as they say. Yes.
Sorry, this is kind of random. That's like interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So in Ahl Sunnah, we have like these books. They tend to like weaken our narrators a lot. So how like do they do it, and how do you like?
I'm sorry. What's your question?
Okay, so like this Ahl Sunnah,
Yeah.
in like Sahih Bukhari and Muslim and most of their corpus, they tend to weaken our narrators or people that are more of like the Shias. Like
Mhm.
it's been known in history to like they weaken. Like anytime like we have narrations from like our side in their books, they tend to weaken our narrators.
Not always.
I know, I'm saying there is.
I mean, you are going to find, inshallah, later on during in our upcoming sessions,
Yeah.
we're going to show how many Shia narrators in the books of Sunni.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes they might put them down if the hadith does not.
According to what they're.
Yeah, and this is fanatic thing. Has nothing to do with science.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm saying like how.
Like in Shia, we narrate it from Sunni if they are trustworthy.
Yeah.
And we call this hadith muwathaq. We're going to, we studied this before, we're going to repeat it. Okay, so now if we take a lot about, for instance, we have something, we call it quickly because she asked me about it. We call it asalat. Okay. Asala, I don't know what's in English, asala, but the default, let's say they say this default. What is the default status of a narrator? So I'm going to put it here. Default status of a narrator. What's the default status? So let's say I had, okay, no, should I use no profiling? Is that good enough? Okay, no profiling. يعني nothing mentioned, okay, about that narrator. What should I say? Is he good or bad? Yani as they say in English, is that right? No news, good news. Can I apply it here? So you want me to write it? Is it right? It's a question. I did not say this. No news. What? Good news. Is that right or wrong? Why? Because the Quran said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا. How I'm going to prove that narrator is not fasiq? This is one of the arguments. Maybe it's fasiq. Why is that critical? Why is that critical? Because, this is very important, because did history mention that people used to lie? Yes. Did history mention some books they were manipulated or tampered with, disordered, distorted? Yes. Did we have liars among narrators? Yes. Did we have mughalin, those who used to exaggerate about Ahlul Bayt? Yes. So we have so many incidents among Sunnah and Shia that say, hey, you know, not everyone is trustworthy. Even the Prophet, they say, he said, after me, you're going to see lots of liars. They claim I said this or that, and I've never said it indirectly. Okay? I'm saying that. So, no profiling does not mean a guy is what? So we don't have something we call in Arabic. So I'm going to write it here. أصالة العدالة. يعني default status of narrator is not what? ثقة or عادل. There is a big difference between ثقة and عادل. A person could be عادل, that means just, good mu'min. But I cannot trust his words. Why? Because maybe his Arabic is weak. Maybe he does not understand well. So that's why we look for the word what? ثقة. What's ثقة? Reliable, trustworthy. Not just adami. No, more than this. Sometimes you have very good friend, does not lie at all, but here's the problem, his understanding is limited. You trust him? No. Is he bad? He's not bad, but he's not trustworthy. Clear? And we have lots of those nowadays. Okay? So this is very important. أصالة العدالة, we do not agree with it. Do we have some people agree with that? Yes. No, I'm talking about in our school of thought. In our school of thought, we have some people, they believe in this. But nowadays, this is very questionable. What do you mean if a person, no one said any bad thing about him means good? No. Good the news, no news, good the news. Not a new. Correction. Okay? That's not right. No news, maybe the people for that event are terminated. That's why you're not hearing any news. Wa alaikum salam. Okay? Maybe no news, hidden events. Maybe no news, disaster happened. Maybe no internet. Maybe they cannot talk. So who said that? No news, good news. I cannot apply it when it comes to profiling a narrator. Question about this? Some of them they do. Like, you know, your here colleagues, she said something very important. She said, okay, like Sunni scholars, they have something. Are we good here? I can erase this? Are you taking notes? You can take screenshots. Yeah, they have something. We call it, they call it عدالة الصحابة. So they have something, عدالة الصحابة. The Shia, they have what? عصمة whom? أهل البيت. أهل البيت, we have the Prophet and 13 Ma'soom, 12 Imam plus Al-Zahra alayhi salam. Okay? As-Sahaba, thousands. What's As-Sahaba? Some of them, they say any person that saw the Prophet is Sahabi. Some of them, they said, no, just Ahl Badr. Because the Prophet, they claim, that said, he said, anyone from Ahl al-Badr, as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling him or them, do whatever you want, so I forgive you. Because you are a place of trustworthiness. In a position of that. Some of them, they say, what if a person is young and he saw the Prophet? Can we call him Sahabi? How old that Sahabi should be? So, but the idea is Adalat al-Sahaba. If the Sahabi said something, you believe him. Where is the problem in this concept? First of all, who told you adala? Back to my previous statement. Who told you if a person is adil, that means just, that means he's good? Who told you being good is trustworthy? In narration. Maybe he misunderstood the Imam or the Prophet. Maybe he did not pay attention. Maybe after years he forgot something and he thought this is the way it is. Maybe. So adala by itself does not make a person reliable. Okay? Does not make it. They say, I don't know how accurate, but it says in history, we can check the sanad of this. Some people came to Salman al-Farisi to teach them Quran. Salman is Iranian, from Persian. He's Persian, from Iran. So he's not 100% Arabic. So the group of Arab people came to him asking him to teach them Quran. What did he say? He said, go to some Arabic people. I can teach you the meaning. I cannot teach you what tajweed, nowadays terminologies. Okay, I'm using this nowadays terminology. So you should know your level. Adalat al-Sahaba, if a person adil, does not mean you can trust him. Maybe he misunderstood. Look what happened to Khalid bin al-Walid. He killed people and, claiming, oh, I thought they are not Muslims. The time of the Prophet happened. Okay? And there is another one happened after the Prophet, like what happened to Malik bin Nuwayra. Or when the Prophet sent the Sahabi to collect zakat, when he saw the people gathering, he thought they are going to revenge because a previous incident happened. So he left them and came to the Prophet saying, oh Prophet, these people, they are not Muslim, they don't want to pay zakah. He was going to create a big fight between, these two. So then the ayah was delivered, Ya ayyuhan ladina amanu in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'an fatabayyanu. So the ayah told us that one of the Sahaba was what? In this situation. Yes. And he was well known that he is always, alcoholic. Okay? Another thing about adalat al-Sahaba, where is this adalat al-Sahaba if it's gonna apply only for Ahl Badr? Why Ahl Badr? Do we have some mistakes from Ahl Badr? Do we have, okay, look what happened to Fatima alayhi salam. Where were the Sahaba? Look what happened to Imam Ali alayhi salam when he stood up and asked people who can witness that the Prophet said, Man kuntu mawlah, fahada Ali mawlah. Some Sahaba, they did not say anything. So politics sometimes will make them tweak their ideas, or time will make them forget. So that's why you have to be selective. And that's why the Prophet said in Hadith Mutawatir, after me, I put it in the group today, after me, you have to stick to Quran and you hold on to Quran and Ahl al-Bayt. Why? Because those are special, well-educated, okay, knowledgeable people. They're not like others. Others might have it right, might have it wrong. So this is a big subject. Okay, you cannot, it's not easy, does not hold water actually. Okay? Yes.
Sorry, two things. So
Can I delete this here?
yeah.
Okay.
So for is it because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like people look at on that Allah is pleased with the Prophet. I forget if it was Allah or the Prophet, but they're pleased with the Muhajirin and Ansar, and they claim that the Sahaba are from those, and that's why they are reliable.
Being good person does not mean you're reliable.
I'm saying that's their mindset. I'm saying they use this to put on.
We can discuss this later on, okay? But reality is different. Now, didn't the Sahaba attack Uthman bin Affan, the third Khalifa, and kill him? Didn't some of the Sahaba had fight with Imam Ali alayhi salam? Didn't Muawiyah had a war against Imam Ali alayhi salam? Didn't the wife of the Prophet, Aisha, had a fight with Imam Ali alayhi salam, and in the army she had Zubair and Talha? Where is this adalat Sahaba? Oh, he is mujtahid. Mujtahid, he was assuming it's right, but it turned out to be wrong. Therefore, you are not reliable. And here I'm not saying who is going to go to Jannah or Nar. This is not my job. I'm saying, can I consider everyone narrated something in the time of the Prophet or close to that time reliable? We say no. By itself, no, we can't. Unless the Prophet pointed out, yes, they say, yeah, but the Prophet said, عليكم بسنة أصحابي مثلا أو. But this is in general. It's not like, and he made it very specific in some other hadith. Yani, imagine the Prophet, he took the kisa literally, and he covered Al-Imam Al-Hasan, Imam Hussein, Fatima, and Ali, and he said, هؤلاء أهل بيتي. Those are أهل البيت. And another hadith he said, إني تارك فيكم الثقلين كتاب الله وعترتي أهل بيتي. يعني which one? يعني this is a specific one. Why? Because those are the source of reliable knowledge. Why are we ordered to love them? Heck, يعني, why we have to love Ahl al-Bayt? Why? Why he mentioned in a very clear way in Sahih Muslim, Ya Ali, that who loves you is a believer and that who hates you is a hypocrite. Why? What's the importance of that love? Because behind it there is a school of thought. Because there is a source to the right Islamic doctrine. While the others, they have contradictions. We have contradictions. Even the Khalifa Umar al-Khattab in several places, he said something the Prophet did not say it. And go check it. So several places. Okay, I don't want to enter this subject now. Okay? So this adalat al-Sahaba is not enough to prove reliability of, and the good example, the contradictions among Sahaba. Now go some hadith of Ibn Abbas contradict with some other tabi'een. Or let's say tabi'een, some people, because they consider tabi'een is trustworthy too. Tabi'een is the level after the Sahaba. Even the Sahaba, you have hadith from Abu Huraira contradicts from another hadith from another Sahabi. We saw that, okay, in history. Yes?
I just wanted to say, why wouldn't Salman Farsi not teach them the Quran when, even if he has like that lahja, which is Farsi, the Prophet put Bilal doing the azan for everybody on there, like obviously people with better voices.
No, because if that narrator is right, if that story is right, I said, if it is right, Quran is different than adhan. And hala now, if you want to pray, and someone, the imam, he recite Quran wrong way, are you allowed to follow him? But if someone said the adhan wrong, your salah is batil? No. Quran is different. And Quran here, you are creating the foundation that generations yet after you to carry the message. That means this guy is very smart. Because if you change one word, you change the meaning of the verdict. You might change the whole rulings. But adhan, it's just a little bit of, weird sometimes accent. It's totally different. Okay? He did not say, I'm not teaching you fiqh or aqidah, or no, he said just the way you say things. Yani, example, we say in the Quran, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءُ. See, if you put Allahu instead of Allah, you ruin the whole meaning. Okay? That means you are saying he is afraid of them. No, it's not. It's the opposite. Okay. So now back to the narration, to ilm al-hadith and what? Ilm al-rijal. So if I take this now hadith, we talk about studying the profile of every narrator. Then we study the chronological order, time. Then we study, did these guys, they met? Okay, now we come to the third key point. They met. What do I mean by this, met? Why I need it? Because, and inshallah we'll study it in details later on. There is big difference when I say حدثنا وروي عن. And sometimes you see in Sunnah people books, they say ثنا. Or حدثنا, they use أخبرنا. If not حدثنا, they use what? أخبرنا. أخبرنا. أخبرنا, they put it as أنا. Okay? يعني كيف بتصير؟ يعني بتصير هيك. This is ثنا. So it would be ثنا حسن, ثنا أحمد, ثنا عيسى. ثنا means حدثنا. It's an abbreviation. It's an abbreviation. Because you know, writing it in every hadith is time consuming. So they came up with this abbreviation. هلا if you read صحيح البخاري, for instance, you can see. So we have حدثنا, أخبرنا, okay? And we have روي عن مثلا سليم. عليكم السلام والإكرام. Okay? روي عن سليم. So here حدثنا, what does it mean? I talk to that person. They talk to me. Oh, there is what? Once you say حدثنا, what does it mean? Yes. Allah, sometimes تقولي لي, no, this is impossible. Because this guy was living in, let's say, Lebanon, and this guy was living in USA. How did they talk to each other? They never met. That's a different story now. Instead now, we prove they did meet. And another thing now, is what? They met. This is important to prove also حدثنا. So if I say, usually in al-Kafi, we do not usually see thana, thana, thana. What do we see? We do not use thana. What do we use? We use an. An, in English, I do not know how to write it in transliteration. We have no a. Okay? An. Yeah, it's a from, but I'm saying there is no a in English. Okay? Okay, so we can say it this. An. Okay? An. Okay? An Hassan, an Ahmad, an Isa. An. What's an? Yani he told me. It's a from. Okay, this is like haddathan. Sometimes he does not say from. And this is now the trick. I check the hadith. Okay, there is an, okay? There is an Hassan, an Ahmad, an Isa. I pay attention that Hassan literally narrated from Ahmad. But Ahmad, who passed away in 95, and Isa, he was born, okay, in what? 2 years before Hijrah. 2 years before Hijrah. يعني this guy, he was, let's say, close to Imam al-Sadiq, let's say, okay, or Imam al-Baqir. This guy was in the time of the Prophet. You tell me, how could it be a guy who lived in the time of Imam al-Baqir, or Imam al-Sadiq, let's say, would be early time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? It's kind of not easy. How old is that guy? They say, for instance, Jabir stayed alive till Imam al-Baqir. Okay? But is that guy one of them? Okay? What time did he pass away? Oh, you tell me he passed away. So this guy, if I want to simplify it for you, this guy, his death was what? His death was 11 Hijrah. Okay, this is Hijri time, okay? So this is his death. Did they meet? It's impossible. شو يعني بعت له text message from the grave? They did not. This is now the beauty of علم الرجال. So what do I call this hadith? This hadith, I call it mursal. So I call this what? Mursal. In Arabic, we call it mursal. What's mursal? It is missing a guy between Ahmad and Isa. Ahmad did not meet or talk to Isa, but he said عن. Oh, عن كيف حبيبي? How did you get it عن? Okay? It is like my father told me that his great father told him. Huh? Now this is obvious, but in ilm al-hadith sometimes it's hidden because you think it appears it is what? It is right, it is connected. In reality, it is not connected. There is a missing gap here. What's that gap? So that mursal, it is missing what? Missing one of the narrators. Because it's impossible for this guy, Ahmad, to narrate from Isa. It's impossible. Because he passed out, he was dead before, way before his day of birth. Date of birth. Okay? Question? So now when we say حدثنا, this is important. Because it's not enough to say حدثنا and you say, wow, that's nice. Though these people, they coexist. No. Because sometimes the narrator does not pay attention. Mainly we have عن. That's what we care about. حدثنا is stronger than عن. Okay? حدثنا, he told me. عن, he said. So maybe I met him or not. And this is, we see it, we call it tadlis sometimes. We see it, Wallah, Abu Huraira said, the Prophet said. Ya Habibi, you did not meet the Prophet during that event. Why you are saying the Prophet said? Who is the connecting point between you and the Prophet back then? Because that event happened before your Islam. Is that clear? So you see lots of this. So this is we call hadith mursal. Sometimes we see it hadith marfu'. Example, inshallah we'll talk about these in more details. Wallah al-Kafi said, روي عن الصالحين, okay? اللهم يعني this دعاء اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمكنه فيها طويلة. So between al-Kafi and عن الصالحين, there is a missing link. Where is it? We say hadith mursal. Okay? Or wallah, Sheikh al-Tusi, he says, in this night say this dua. Imam al-Sadiq, روي عن Imam al-Sadiq, this dua. Between Sheikh al-Tusi and Imam al-Sadiq, we have about 400, 500 years, more or less. We tell Sheikh al-Tusi, what's the chain of narrations? I don't have it. So what do we say this hadith? Mursal. Is the mursal sahih or da'if? Da'if. I'm talking about as a chain of narration. Maybe the content is good. I'm not questioning the content. I'm talking about what? As a chain of transmission or narrators. So this is the story of حدثنا أخبرنا روي عن could be he listened to or could be he heard that he said. But in our, like Al-Kafi and others, when I say عن فلان, and if they are really, they met and they talk to each other, عن means like حدثنا. Okay? And that's why Sheikh al-Kulayni in so many ahadith, عن بعض أصحابنا. يعني he listened from his mashayikh. Yes?
What's the difference between أخبرنا وحدثنا?
Very similar. أخبرنا حدثنا. Okay? Yes, marfu' is the same as mursal. Inshallah, we'll study those later on. Marfu' we say عن علي بن XYZ رفعه قال النبي. Oh. رفعه means he did not say the sanad. Between this guy and the Nabi, maybe 200 years.
So is the Quran, is that like weak evidence for that?
As a chain of narrations, yeah. But it's famous. Okay? If something is weak, does not mean it is wrong. Okay? And if something is sahih, does not mean it's right. That's why you have ilm al-hadith. So now, this is in general some major ideas. To summarize this, as I said in my previous lectures, and I draw it, it is like the subha. This is the subha. You have beads in the subha, isn't it? We make them bigger, يعني عشان تشوفون. Okay, so this is the subha. Yeah, I'm bad at drawing artist. So this is the subha, okay? So this is the subha here. In order for this subha to function, what do you need? Exactly. This continuity. Continuity here is very important. Because if I cut this off, what's going to happen to the subha? It will fall apart. I'm not talking about necklace. I'm talking about the subha. Yani you can move those beads. So if this, one of them is bad, what's going to happen to the rest? Bad. This is the sanad. So you can always imagine the sanad is what? This is, I'm going to call it what? Sanad. Okay? This is an analogy. So this is narrator 1, narrator 2, narrator 3, narrator 4, narrator 5, narrator 6, narrator 7, alhamdulillah, yani only 9, narrator 8, narrator 9. If one of those narrators took a flight, okay, and was cut off, what's going to happen to this continuity is damaged. Then what's going to be? It will be, if not, let's say N6 is what? Missing. So what's going to happen here? The hadith is what? We call it mursal. As simple as that. Good? You like this analogy? Alhamdulillah. If now all of these ends are missing except what? N1. So N1 is not missing and the rest are there. And he said, this is also mursal, but this is way more mursal. So we call it marfu', rafa'ahu. Okay. Question here?
What if it's only N7 missing?
If N7, this one,
N9, sorry.
if N9 missing also, it's the hadith mursal. Because how did you know that the Imam said it? Because now here we talk about what? The source. The source would be Imam or what? The Prophet, صح? This is now the source. All this leading to this source.
So how would you know?
Because this guy, he passed away, let's say, in 95. And he said, Imam Ali told me. Imam Ali told you? Habibi, Imam Ali was not alive back then. There is like 50 years between you and him. Or more. Okay? So that's why ilm al-rijal is very important. Ilm al-rijal, the idea behind, one of the reasons behind it is to assure the quality of hadith, the quality of narrators. Because we are afraid that someone fabricated things. Okay? It's like fake news nowadays. Clear? You had a question? I did not get your question.
The first one got it from Prophet or
No, the first one heard from the second one, heard from the
the
third
first
one.
one got it from Prophet, and he gave it to the second one, and the second one gave it to the.
Hala, no, don't take my analogy. Yani, just this is for simplicity. So let's say I consider ninth is the one closest to the Prophet. That's my reference. Now let's say even the opposite. I mean, so this is here. Okay, I consider this is the closest. Okay, hala, regardless, it's same. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I'm coming from Al-Kulayni all the way, yeah, depends on what's your reference point. But I see you.
Usually in hadith, isn't it narrated like the last person before it gives you like the quote is the person who's the closest to the imam?
Yeah, so, it is my preferences here. So I consider N1
Oh, no, I'm
is
saying
close to Al-Kulayni, blah, 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 blah.
No, I'm just saying in general.
In general, Al-Kulayni, he will say, I will show you some examples.
From 1, 2, 3, and then this person like the last person who I narrated from the imam.
Yes.
And then that's
Yeah. So that's why I consider your question N9 is close to the, let's say, the source. But it's your preference. Anyway, it's mursal.
If it's hadith ruwiya an, does that mean he didn't necessarily meet the person? Like, what does that
Okay. Ruwiya an, back to, you should have asked this before. Are we done here? I would say, let's say Sheikh al-Tusi said, وَقَدْ رُوِيَ عَنْ عَلِي بن أبي حمزة البطائني, okay, that blah 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 blah. بتقول له روي عن, you do not have continuity and the chain of narration between you and Ali bin Abi Hamza al-Bata'i. But anyway, Ali bin Abi Hamza al-Bata'i min al-Mughalin, he's weak. So this is ضعيف two ways. Mursal plus the guy here is bad guy. Okay?
Oh, yeah, but then Sheikh al-Tusi, another narrator.
Yeah, he is saying ruwiya. How come you did not put? Okay. هلا شوفوا, I don't want to enter into some books, they like Sheikh al-Saduq, they say Sheikh al-Saduq does distinguish between ruwiya and qala. Ruwiya عن الصادق عليه السلام is different than قال الإمام الصادق. They say when Sheikh al-Saduq in his book, let's say من لا يحضره الفقيه, قال الإمام الصادق, that means he checked the sanad and he is comfortable with it. Ruwiya, maybe. But this is not a rule. That some scholars, they believe this. But this is not a general rule that we all believe in. Okay? Like in Arabic now, we distinguish between قال وقيل. قيل يعني less famous. قال, it's the famous opinion. Okay? يعني مثل بقول له قيل مثل هيك بقوله. يعني I do not know. قالوا لا هو هيك قال لي يعني. You emphasize on it. قال وقيل. Okay? Did I answer your question? Okay. Any other questions?
Sanad is seemingly sahih because it's mursal. That means automatically da'if.
I'm sorry?
If it's mursal, it's always da'if.
Yeah, it is ضعيف.
Going back to an, so that means always, if somebody says an, that means there's a missing between.
No.
Not always.
No, I'm not saying this. If I say, for instance, عن محمد بن يعقوب, who's that? Who's Muhammad bin Yaqub? This is Al-Kulayni. Al-Kulayni. This is Al-Kulayni. He had the book, what do we call it? Al-Kafi. عن محمد بن يعقوب عن علي بن إبراهيم, okay, عن إبراهيم بن هاشم عن النوفلي عن السكوني عن الإمام الصادق. So if I want to put this in English, how I'm going to put it? I'm going to say, I did not leave a space, but quickly. Okay. Can you see here? Can the camera see this here side? Okay. So I'm going to say, so Muhammad Al-Kulayni, okay, narrated from whom? Ali bin Ibrahim. Narrated from Ibrahim, okay, bin what? Bin Hashim. يعني خلينا بن هاشم. Then إبراهيم بن هاشم عن نوفلي. نوفلي عن مين؟ عن السكوني عن الإمام. Okay? So this hadith, is it hadith صحيح or ضعيف? Once you work with hadith, you start memorizing some narrations with their sanad. Huh? Exactly. So how am I going to know whether this is hadith sahih or not? Yes, we do. But how? What's the method? I'm not saying give me the answer. What's the method? What do you think the method? You are not with us. Okay, this is a good one. That means we just... What are the methods? The profile. Check the profile of every person. So the first thing I have to do here, okay, the first thing is what? Start profiling these people, صح? So we have a process as your Instagram do, okay? We have profiling and what? Verification. Is there a person, his name is Muhammad bin Yaqub? Yeah, it is. Is من ثقة الإسلام. He is the one who put together Kitab al-Kafi. He passed away 328-29 Hijri. Okay? 328 Hijri. Well-known, reliable author. And he mentioned this. He told me in his book. Where's this hadith? So the first thing we do before I get into the sanad, the most important thing is what? Before I talk about profiling people, profiling what? The book. Is the book reliable or not? Wallah, I read in a book called XYYY2526. You tell me, what's that book? Where do you get this book from? Yeah, it's old book. Ya Habibi, good for you, but this is not authentic book. So do we have a real book for Al-Kulayni? Its name Al-Kafi? Yes. So this is Al-Kafi. It's a proven for Al-Kulayni. Do we know whether that book is similar to the one that we have nowadays? Yes, it's a proven. Okay? So this book is what? Reliable book. Does not mean everything is right, but it is genuinely for whom? For the writer. Sometimes you might invent a book. I might say, this gentleman, he had a book called, see the moon in the middle of the night. No, I did not write this book. It's questionable. I cannot claim that's his book. But this is, I can 100% to prove that this book is for Muhammad bin Yaqub. Done. Muhammad bin Yaqub told me, who is thiqa, told me that Ali bin Ibrahim, an here, what does it mean? From. He did not say haddathana. Okay? He said no, an Ali bin Ibrahim. Ali bin Ibrahim, is he thiqa or not? What should I go now? Now I start to profiling what? Narrators. Narrators, how? We have books for that, like Al-Najashi. Al-Najashi, he had a book, okay, to tell me whether Ali bin Ibrahim is thiqa or not. He has a book, okay. It's like 1,000 years old book. We have a book for other, like Sheikh al-Tusi. I'm not going to put them here. Sheikh al-Tusi. Sayyid al-Khu'i nowadays, he had one. The advantage of Sheikh al-Tusi, Sayyid al-Khu'i nowadays, because it go back and analyze and make comparison. So it made it much easier on us. And definitely he has his own opinion overall. So this is now thiqa. Based on what? Based on Najashi. Najashi, when he says something is thiqa, is thiqa. Okay? Like Al-Ghadairi, we have a book called Al-Ghadairi. Inshallah, we'll study it later on. We do not depend on it. Al-Ghadairi, the book is to tell us who is considered weak narrator. But to prove that the book belonged to or been written literally by the author, it's questionable. So there is a book for Al-Ghadairi, but this book that we have nowadays, we cannot prove it is the same one written by Al-Ghadairi. It's a big argument, okay? While Al-Najashi, no, that book is authentic. That's his book. We have proofs. So Al-Najashi says, this guy here is what? Is thiqa. What's thiqa? Trustworthy, reliable, good person. Okay? Then we go, we check Ibrahim bin Hashim. Who's Ibrahim bin Hashim? Ibrahim bin Hashim is the father of Ali bin Ibrahim. Is he thiqa? We have here different opinions. A group of scholars, they said yes, because we have hundreds and hundreds of narrations by Ibrahim bin Hashim. And it's impossible for this guy to be what? Not reliable. So you tell that guy, so no news, good news? He will tell you, no, I'm not saying this. If he were to be bad, how come no one object and say, hey, you are wrong? You get the idea now how they are adding some clues. So some scholars, including Sayyid al-Khu'i, they consider this person what? Thiqa. And here we have, inshallah remind me next week, we have something called al-Hadith al-Hasan. I talked about it a little bit. Hadith al-Hasan is when a person is not, we don't have any proof he is thiqa, but he was highly praised that he is a good Shi'i. We call this hadith what? Hasan. So yeah, they did not say, we're not saying no news, good news. No, we have good news about that guy. But no one said he is a liar, and no one said he is, not trustworthy. But we have some people, they praise him. So what's the probability he is bad? Very negligible. So they consider him what? Hasanun. The sanad is Hasan. Ibrahim bin Hashim, we have several people. Some people, they consider him weak. Okay? Some people, they say, no, he is thiqa like Sayyid al-Khu'i. Why? Because based on the praising, based on the number of narrations, so they have clues to make him what? The level of, trustworthy. We come to An-Nawfali. An-Nawfali is Shi'i. Some scholars, they say An-Nawfali is thiqa. Some say no, he's not thiqa. For Sayyid al-Khu'i, An-Nawfali is thiqa. For others, no, he's not thiqa. How they know? They went, they studied Najashi, they studied, Kutub for al-Kishi, Sheikh al-Tusi, or just whatever, they said, okay, this is my, and that's why he's a mujtahid. He does his homework. As-Sakuni is Sunni. But we consider him what? Yeah, mawthuq. So this is hadith, we say, this hadith, we call it what? Hadith muwaththaq. Okay. Why? Because there is thiqa, trust, worthy, Sunni, okay, narrator. So we call it hadith muwaththaq. Okay? This is one of the stories of the hadith. Okay, we stop it here. If you have more questions, inshallah, we'll answer them, and to be continued next week.